Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're embarking on, well, quite a profound journey, I think. One that really touches upon the core of human evolution and, our place in the cosmos.
It definitely feels significant.
We've got some really fascinating source material to unpack. It's a transcript from a YouTube video, actually. It's titled Urgente, Esper Acabu, Ten Håan os Pleiadianos.
That's from the KRYON Serviço Magnético channel, right?
Exactly. Now, that title itself is quite evocative, isn't it? The wait is over.
It certainly grabs your attention.
It does. So our mission today is to really understand what the source means when it talks about humanity taking a bold step towards an important chapter. And specifically, this really intriguing idea of becoming a galactic citizen.
Right.
It suggests moving beyond what the source calls third density existence. So I guess the big questions are, what exactly does that mean for us? And what kind of insights can we, draw from this perspective?
Well, what's really striking is how the source lays out a very specific roadmap for this transformation. It's not just like a philosophical idea. It's presented as a practical shift. A shift in consciousness, yes, but also in how we actually live day to day.
Okay.
So throughout this deep dive, we're going to explore what exactly defines this third density existence, how it, limits us in certain ways.
Right, the limitations.
And the profound changes, maybe even challenging changes, required to, as the source puts it, awaken to your true spiritual nature.
Okay.
Ultimately, this conversation should help us grasp the steps involved in recognizing that, well, you are more than just individuals limited by flesh, isolated on Earth. It's a much bigger picture.
More than just flesh, isolated on Earth. Okay, let's dive into that. Part 1. The core transformation beyond third density.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start by really unpacking this concept, this third density. The source describes it as a state, defined by physical senses, by ego identity, and by the struggle for survival. When you hear that, it sounds remarkably like our everyday reality, doesn't it?
It really does. So much of our focus is on what we see, touch, taste.
Exactly. And how we define ourselves, our job, our family, our status.
And that constant underlying hum of struggle, right?
Yeah.
Making ends meet, getting ahead.
Yes, that struggle for survival aspect. The source material really emphasizes that life in this third density is essentially a kind of spiritual classroom.
The classroom, okay.
Yeah, where each soul has to make a fundamental choice between living in service to self or in service to others.
That's a stark choice.
It is, and it paints a rather, maybe sobering picture, suggesting that by default, the unawakened human tends to the first option, service to self.
So the default is self-interest.
That seems to be the implication in this state. It means our lives in this kind of unawakened state are structured around what the source calls narrow priorities, primarily focused on ourselves.
Right.
The illustrative content really brings this home. It talks about securing one's own survival, comfort, and success above all else.
That sounds familiar. Look out for number 1.
Precisely. You find yourself constantly thinking about your immediate needs, your comfort, your personal achievements. Often, maybe, without even realizing how much it excludes a broader perspective.
It becomes a very contained way of being, almost competitive by its nature, defined by a pretty limited circle of concern.
Exactly. Me, my family, maybe my close group, and that's kind of it.
Right. Building on that, though, the bigger picture here, the implication, isn't about escaping physical reality. It's not about leaving the body behind.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, it's more about awakening to your true spiritual nature and recognizing that you are more than just individuals limited by the flesh, isolated on Earth.
So recognizing something beyond the physical and the individual ego.
Exactly. It's about realizing, as the source puts it, that you are eternal beings of light connected to a universal family.
Eternal beings of light connected to a universal family. That fundamentally challenges our usual idea of being separate individuals, doesn't it?
Completely. It shifts the whole paradigm. And this deep transformation, this awakening, is frequently described as becoming a galactic citizen.
Right, that term again.
Which means, according to the source, becoming a conscious participant in the broader community of intelligent life and spirit that extends across the stars.
Okay, so conscious participant. It's not just about aliens landing, is it?
Not primarily, no. It seems to be much more about a fundamental shift inside us, an internal state change that allows us to resonate with something bigger, a cosmic consciousness.
This naturally begs the question then, what does it actually mean to be connected to a universal family if day to day our lives often feel so incredibly isolated?
That's the core question, isn't it? The source suggests it's a powerful shift from being a purely earthbound human to a galactically conscious soul.
A galactically conscious soul.
Yeah, implying an expansion of awareness, moving beyond just our planet, our immediate concerns. It's like starting to identify with the entire cosmos as our true home.
Wow. That's a big perspective shift. And what's really compelling is that this isn't some totally new, out there concept that just appeared, is it?
No, definitely not. The source is quick to point out that many spiritual traditions have predicted this evolutionary leap.
Right, so this has roots.
Deep roots. For centuries, across different cultures, different belief systems, there have been prophecies, teachings, talking about a new era coming, or, a realm of heavens on earth where humanity awakens to its inner divinity. Things like that.
So this perspective kind of elevates the whole discussion. It's not just one niche belief system.
Exactly. It reframes it as potentially a fundamental, long foretold shift in how we see ourselves, how we see our existence.
Right. So this deep dive suggests we might be collectively transitioning from, what was it, a life governed by ego and survival instincts,
to a life guided by the wisdom of the soul and the light of the inner creator.
Yeah, that sounds like a profound journey of inner change. A potent invitation, maybe, for you, the listener, to consider how you might navigate this shift in your own life.
Absolutely. It's about moving from being reactive, constantly self-protecting based on what's happening out there, to becoming more proactive, guided by an inner knowing, a deep sense of connection to something much larger, much wiser than our individual ego.
It's a really compelling call, isn't it, to elevate our consciousness beyond just the immediate, the purely material.
It truly is.
Okay, so let's move into part 2. From self-preservation to service to all. If third density is primarily about ego, self-preservation, looking out for number 1, what's the alternative presented here?
Well, the source paints a very clear picture. It even describes it almost like a hierarchy, showing how our circle of concern is meant to expand as we awaken.
A hierarchy of concern, okay.
Yeah. So in the third density state, our primary concerns are laid out in a kind of progression. It starts with self.
Right, me first.
Then it typically moves to family, then maybe tribe or community, then perhaps religion or group, and finally, nation or race.
Okay, I can see that progression. Self, family, group, nation.
And this hierarchy of concern, as the source calls it, defines the polarity of service to self, where the circle of care is limited.
Limited, that's the key word.
Exactly. And the examples given make it alarmingly tangible. It starts with securing one's own survival, comfort, and success above all else. That's the most basic level.
Yeah.
Then it might expand a bit to being loyal to your church, ideology, or group values, which seems noble, maybe, but often creates these divisions, right? Between those who share your beliefs and those who don't.
The in-group and the out-group.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then finally, there's having pride in your country or people, often putting them before humanity as a whole.
Wow, that sounds incredibly familiar in our world today, doesn't it?
It really does. It's that pattern of me and mine first, always drawing lines in the sand.
Okay, so that's the 3D picture. What's the contrast?
Well, this is where it gets really compelling. The source presents a stark contrast. It says when an individual is touched by the inner light, and it doesn't matter what you call that light, Christ consciousness, Buddha nature, or the inner Tao, their entire orientation changes radically.
Radically, not just a little tweak.
Not at all. It's described as a complete reorientation of purpose, of motivation. This awakened soul, the source explains, no longer lives primarily for personal gain or even just for family or nation.
Okay.
It feels moved by a presence greater than the human ego, a divine spirit within, and thus begins to live for a higher purpose.
Moved by something greater.
And crucially, its circle of concern expands to include all life. All of it.
Wow. From self and nation to all life, that's huge.
It is. The guiding principle shifts dramatically, from personal survival at all costs to a spirit of unity, love, and service.
Okay, so that raises a critical question, doesn't it? How does one actually do that? How do you move from living based on fear, constant vigilance, self-protection, to living based on faith, where trust in something greater becomes, paramount?
That's the practical crux of it. The source suggests it's about learning to trust that this inner divine presence will provide, guide, and protect.
Trusting the inner presence.
Yeah, allowing oneself to rest in trust instead of constantly striving through personal effort or, manipulation.
Resting in trust. That sounds peaceful, but maybe hard to achieve.
It likely is a process, but the source suggests it's a profound release, a release of that need for egoic control. It transforms anxiety into a kind of calm inner knowing.
And this shift, the source suggests, brings about an immense sense of peace. It actually says, once you realize there is a presence within you greater than any challenge in the world, everything changes.
That's a powerful statement.
It is incredibly reassuring, liberating even. This realization, according to the source, brings profound relief, a liberation from the constant anxiety and self-protective vigilance that once governed your actions.
So letting go of that hypervigilance.
Exactly. Instead of relying on, and I quote, armaments, cunning, or deception to navigate life's challenges.
Which sounds very 3D.
Very 3D, yes. Instead of that, you discover that you can rest in trust. Source illustrates this beautifully, I think. It says it's like a higher power walks ahead of you on your path.
Like you're not alone in it.
Precisely. And that old impulse to manipulate situations for your benefit disappears because you feel a higher intelligence is organizing things into divine order.
Divine order, trusting the flow.
Imagine living like that, with that kind of unwavering inner knowing, where you're not constantly fighting the current but flowing with it, trusting that things are aligning for your highest good.
It speaks to a really deep sense of security, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One that isn't dependent on external circumstances, which are always changing.
Exactly. It transcends the unpredictable nature of the world.
So zooming out again, the broader implication here is replacing that fear-driven rush to protect yourself at all costs.
Yeah, that panic mode.
With a calm confidence that you're being cared for by something infinitely wise and loving.
A calm confidence. That sounds like a different way of interacting with the world entirely.
Vastly different. Imagine navigating daily challenges, maybe disagreements, setbacks, not with defensiveness, not with a clenched jaw, but with a calm, open heart. Truly believing in some kind of benevolent ordering force.
That would change everything.
The source suggests that when you're in this state of surrendered trust, life itself actually simplifies and flows more harmoniously.
Simplifies. I like the sound of that.
Me too. It's described as if invisible hands are opening a path for your greater good. The constant mental chatter calms down. The heart relaxes its guard.
And you can hear something else.
Yes. You begin to hear the sole divine voice of inner guidance, like a clear, intuitive nudge. This understanding really encourages you, the listener, to consider just how much your life might simplify, how much more easily it might flow when guided by this inner wisdom, moving beyond that exhausting need to constantly control and manipulate everything.
It's a powerful invitation, isn't it? Towards a more graceful, maybe less effortful existence.
Absolutely. Effortless in a way, guided.
Okay, part 3. Dissolving divisive identities and embracing unity. So as this circle of concern expands beyond just ourselves and our immediate groups, it naturally challenges the identities we cling to, right?
It has to, yes. Which brings us to another crucial element of becoming this galactic citizen.
Yes.
The dissolution of those divisive labels.
Yeah.
The ones that so often keep us apart.
Right. We identify so strongly with our groups, don't we? It feels almost instinctual.
It's deeply ingrained in human culture, absolutely.
Yeah.
Categorizing ourselves and others by race, nationality, religion, social group.
Yeah.
And the source points out that in an unenlightened state, we tend to identify fiercely with these groups.
Fiercely, that's a strong word.
It is, and it's not presented as just a benign observation. The source explicitly warns that these identifications often breed prejudice and conflict.
We see that playing out constantly, unfortunately, that us versus them mentality.
Exactly, creating barriers instead of bridges, preventing any kind of real global harmony.
So what's the alternative vision here?
What truly stands out is this profound call to become true citizens of the cosmos.
Citizens of the cosmos.
And the way to do that is by transcending such narrow labels and recognizing the unity of the human family.
Recognizing the unity. How?
The source articulates a foundational spiritual truth. Spiritually awakened teachings emphasize that all of you share a single source.
A single source, okay.
Beyond your earthly ancestry and tribal ties, you are all children of the same divine primordial creator.
Children of the same creator.
This perception makes us, literally, brothers and sisters at the soul level. And interestingly, it includes beings like the Pleiadians themselves, presented as part of this larger cosmic family.
So it extends beyond humanity.
Yes. The argument is, when you truly awaken to that divine spark within yourself, you cannot help but see that same light in others, regardless of their external differences.
Regardless of appearance, belief, background.
Exactly. And because of that recognition, old prejudices, intolerances, They naturally begin to dissolve, not through forcing yourself to be tolerant, but because you genuinely feel empathy, kinship.
That makes sense. It comes from within.
Which leads us to ask, right, if we truly perceive that divine spark in everyone, without exception, how profoundly would our daily interactions change? How would our global society change?
It would have to be transformative.
The source is very clear. This isn't about forced tolerance or just intellectually agreeing we're all one. It's an internal, deep understanding of our fundamental interconnectedness.
Right. It's not just a surface level thing. And the source uses that powerful phrase, doesn't it? I am another you.
Yes, that ancient Mayan greeting, essentially.
Which isn't just a nice sentiment, is it? It means that unity and diversity coexist in harmony.
Coexist, okay.
Each person is valued as a unique expression of the one cosmic consciousness. And critically, what harms the other truly harms the whole.
That's a radical departure from the me and mine first mentality.
Completely. That 3D view often sees others' misfortunes as separate or sometimes even, advantageous.
Right. So practically, this implies our very concepts of society, of citizenship. They have to evolve beyond how we currently see them.
They must. The source states that true unity cannot be achieved by laws or policies alone. You can't legislate oneness.
No, it says it requires an inner shift of perspective, a change of heart, essentially, not just new rules.
And you can almost see this pressure building, can't you? With global challenges like climate change, pandemics, the need for peace.
Absolutely. Those issues inherently ignore man-made borders. They force us to see our interconnectedness.
Yeah, they highlight the limitations of a fragmented, nationalistic, or tribal approach. It just doesn't work for these big problems.
Stepping back again, the bigger message is unmistakably clear here. To join a larger community of enlightened beings beyond your planet, you need to first learn to be one people on Earth, all for one and one for all.
Learn to be one people first. That sounds like homework for humanity.
It's presented almost as a spiritual mandate. It asks each of you, the listener, to examine and release any remaining prejudices or feelings of separativeness.
Active examination and release.
Yes. The source suggests that in the higher vibrational reality of a galactic society, a realm where frequencies of love and understanding are dominant, there is no place for divisive ego pride.
No room for ego pride.
Only humanity. And beyond that, the family of all conscious life. This understanding is described as both humbling and empowering.
Humbling and empowering. How so?
Well, humbling because it dissolves that false sense of superiority the ego loves to cling to. It breaks down the US versus them.
Right.
But it's also empowering because it allows the unconditional love of the one God, Father, Mother, as the source puts it, to flow unimpeded through you to everyone and everything.
Love and understanding as the foundation.
That's what the source asserts. That's the foundation upon which this new world, this new consciousness will be built. It's a profound shift in identity, isn't it? From isolated individual to an integral part of a universal whole. It really is. Okay, moving to part 4. Surrendering personal will to the divine plan. This sounds like, well, another monumental part of the journey.
It's definitely a big one.
Learning to surrender your personal will to the higher will of the universe. That implies life isn't just random chaos, right? It suggests there's an underlying intelligence, a design.
Precisely. The source explicitly states, a divine intelligent plan underlies your existence.
Wow.
Every soul is born with a purpose, a unique role in the cosmic tapestry.
A unique role. That's a profoundly comforting thought, isn't it? That there's inherent meaning behind us being here, a contribution only you can make.
It is comforting. However, it also points out that as humans, especially in this third density, we often deviate from this destiny.
Go off track.
Yeah, we frequently get pushed into certain paths by a family, culture, or your own ego desires, often without really consulting that deeper wisdom inside.
Right. Doing what's expected or what we think will bring us success or approval. Exactly. And without checking in with that deeper knowing, we can end up in careers, lifestyles that don't truly fulfill your spirit.
Leaving us wondering, why do I feel restless or out of place?
That's the sign, that nagging feeling, chasing external success but still feeling an emptiness, a misalignment, a sense that something fundamental is missing.
Okay, so if we're off track, what's the solution offered?
Well, this is another compelling point. To correct the course, the source says you need to turn inward and commune with the inner creator, the higher self that knows your divine blueprint.
Commune with the inner creator. So it's an internal process, again, not waiting for an external sign necessarily.
Primarily internal, yes, and internal attunement, a quiet conversation with your deepest wisdom.
How?
The Source explains that through practices like prayer, meditation, and honest self-reflection, you begin to feel a divine hand guiding you.
Feel the guidance.
And this inner guidance, once you start cultivating it, can lead to surprising shifts in your life.
Surprising shifts like what?
Maybe a new calling emerging, a radical change in lifestyle, or a move to a place you feel powerfully drawn to.
Okay, so potentially big life changes.
Potentially. Not always easy changes, perhaps, but described as a necessary realignment, getting back onto that authentic, divinely intended path for your life.
This naturally brings up a crucial question, though. What happens when our personal desires, our ambitions, maybe things we've worked really hard for, clash directly with this quiet inner guidance?
Yes. The Source definitely doesn't shy away from this difficulty. It acknowledges surrendering to the divine plan can be challenging for the ego that craves control.
The ego wants to be in charge.
Always. And so the Source says, often there is an inner war.
An inner war. That sounds familiar, that internal struggle.
Exactly. Between what we think we want, or what society tells us we should want, and what our higher self knows is actually for our highest good and the good of the whole.
And that inner conflict can be really tough to navigate, can it? Where, like the Source says, part of you clings to familiar habits and personal ambitions, while another part urges you to let go and trust.
Yes. That feeling of being pulled in two directions, feeling confused, frustrated, maybe even unworthy or afraid of the unknown.
Yeah, fear of the unknown is huge.
It is. The Source points out that it takes humility and faith to say, not my will, but thine be done.
Humility and faith. That's challenging, especially as the Source notes, in a world that often teaches us to value fierce ambition and self-reliance above everything else.
Right. Or even to see certain strong desires as virtues we must pursue relentlessly.
But here, the Source says even good desires need examining.
Yes. They must be examined to see if they're truly aligned with your highest calling, or if they're just the ego trying to chart its own course, clinging to what feels safe or known.
That's a subtle but really crucial distinction. Requires deep self-honesty.
Very deep. So, looking at the meta-narrative, the awakened approach, according to the Source, is to cultivate this habit of continually asking the Spirit.
Asking what?
Questions like, what wouldst thou have me do, where wouldst thou have me be, and what wouldst thou have me say? And then listen for the answer.
Asking and listening, it sounds almost simple, but probably isn't easy in practice.
Probably not. But the Source emphasizes this doesn't make you passive or aimless, which is a common fear, right?
Yeah, that you'll just drift.
Instead, it makes you incredibly responsive to a higher guidance, which arguably makes your actions more effective, more aligned, more impactful.
More effective because they're aligned with something bigger.
That's the idea.
Right.
And the Source holds out a promise. As you surrender the ego agenda, you often find that the divine plan for you is grander and more meaningful than any you could have devised on your own.
Grander and more meaningful.
It's about creating space, opening up for your true purpose to emerge, making your life cosmically directed by divine love for the benefit of all.
Wow. That transforms mundane existence into something sacred, doesn't it? A sacred mission.
It does. It suggests a life lived with not just greater purpose, but maybe far greater ease and flow than our individual striving could ever achieve.
Okay, let's move to part 5. Overcoming the inner world mastering self. This whole journey really sounds like it's fundamentally internal, doesn't it?
Deeply internal, yes.
The Source talks about something mystics across ages have called overcoming the world. But it immediately clarifies this isn't about external conquest, right? Not about ruling over others or empires.
Exactly. We often think of overcoming the world as, conquering nations, building fortunes, amassing power.
Yeah, worldly success.
But the Source clarifies that this concept actually points to the conquest of the world of your own lower self.
Conquering the inner world.
Yes. It is the overcoming of the ego, of materialistic and selfish tendencies, of basic fears and desires within you.
Okay.
And this inner victory, it states quite clearly, is far more demanding than any external battle.
More demanding than external battles.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it explains that history is full of examples, isn't it?
Yeah.
People who gained immense worldly power but remained slaves to pride, greed, or fear, never truly finding peace.
Right. Power doesn't equal peace.
Not inner peace, no. True mastery, the Source suggests, is always over oneself, not over others, not over external circumstances.
And it uses a very powerful example here, doesn't it?
It does. A particularly illuminating one. Your master Jesus declared bravely, "I have overcome the world."
Okay. What does the source say that really meant?
It immediately clarifies the true meaning. It states that even though, externally, the oppressive forces of his time still ruled, he hadn't overthrown Rome, he hadn't abolished all injustice.
Right.
But he had triumphed over the temptations of the material world and ego within his own consciousness. That was the victory.
The inner triumph. And it mentions specific temptations.
Yes, the classic temptations that afflict all humans that he apparently faced. Using spiritual power for personal security, the whole turning stones to bread idea, seeking personal glory, asking for a spectacular divine rescue, and taking worldly power at the cost of his soul, being offered all the kingdoms of the world.
And he renounced them all.
He did. And in doing so, the source says, he died to the mortal self that yearns for security, praise, and control.
Died to the mortal self.
And what remained was his divine self, radiant, free from worldly attachments. It's presented as a clear blueprint for this inner victory.
A blueprint showing the true battle, the true frontier is always within.
Precisely.
So it's really about dying to that mortal self, the part that craves security, praise, control, and allowing the divine self to emerge. And crucially, the source says we are all called to this, not just historical figures.
Absolutely, it makes that very clear. Each of you is now called to a similar inner triumph.
Okay, so how? What do we need to do?
It says, you need to illuminate with the light of consciousness your own subtle longings for validation and personal dominion, your fears of loss or failure, and your tendencies to react with anger or selfishness.
Illuminate our own shadows, basically.
Yes. Which raises the very practical question. How do we actually do that in our daily lives?
Yeah.
It's one thing to talk about it.
Right.
The source offers a path. It suggests confronting these shadows not by hating them or repressing them, which is often our first instinct.
Yeah, push them down.
But by understanding and transcending them through a higher vision of truth.
Understanding and transcending. How?
Through prayerful surrender and conscious awareness. It's through these practices that the false self be dissolved so that the higher self can be resurrected in you.
Dissolving the false self, resurrecting the higher self. It sounds like a profound and probably ongoing process.
Very much an ongoing process of self-discovery and spiritual transformation, not a one-time event.
So in the grand scheme, overcoming this inner world leads to what?
It leads to a kind of rebirth, the source proclaims.
Rebirth.
Your identity shifts from the limited human self to the divine I am.
The divine I am. That's a powerful recognition, isn't it? That your true self is eternal, conscious, part of the creator beyond the temporary ego and body.
It is. And importantly, this doesn't erase your personality or the enjoyment of life. You don't become some bland, detached monk necessarily.
Okay, good to know.
It simply means your personality, your unique talents, are now guided by that divine center instead of by reactive ego impulses.
Guided by the divine center. So what does this truly mean for you, the listener, in practical terms?
You discover that your kingdom is indeed no longer of this third density world.
Your kingdom is not of this world.
Meaning your feeling of peace, your fulfillment, no longer depends on external conditions.
Inner peace becomes unshakable, regardless of what's happening around you.
Exactly. You carry the kingdom of heaven within you. That's the phrase used.
A kingdom of heaven within.
This is described as true liberation. And interestingly, a mark of a soul that is ready to graduate from the 3D school and move on to higher realms of existence.
Graduate from the 3D school. It's like we're leveling up.
That's the analogy, yes. Yeah. It's a compelling invitation, isn't it? To declare to yourself, as the source suggests, that you are ready for the next level of your soul's evolution, ready to graduate into higher consciousness.
It really is. Okay, part 6. Living with integrity and by grace. So these profound inner changes, this graduation, it must inevitably cascade into our daily lives, right? Affecting our actions.
Absolutely. It has to manifest outwardly. And the source strongly stresses integrity here. It's called a vital lesson for the aspiring galactic citizen.
Integrity, meaning?
Meaning it's not enough to just know these spiritual principles or agree with them intellectually. You have to consciously, consistently live them.
Walk the talk.
Precisely. The source emphasizes, your actions must begin to reflect the spiritual principles you profess. You cannot serve two masters.
Can't serve two masters.
And it gives a very clear, almost piercing example. It says, if you declare that the primordial creator's provision is my sufficiency, meaning you trust you'll be provided for, but then behave as if desperate and lack or entitled to deceive and take for yourself, you will create an inner tumult.
inner tumult, that dissonance.
Exactly. That painful, gnawing internal conflict when your words, your beliefs, and your actions just don't line up. The spiritual truth, it warns, can become like a two-edged sword if used hypocritically.
Hurting yourself more than helping.
That's the idea. It hinders your progress rather than genuinely aiding it.
So how does this misalignment get corrected?
Well, a key takeaway here is how this hypocrisy, this lack of integrity, is actually illuminated for correction by the awakening process itself.
How so?
The source says when you expose yourself to the light, any deviation from it becomes clearly visible and uncomfortable.
You can't ignore it anymore.
Exactly. It's not about external judgment or punishment. It's just a natural effect of rising into a brighter consciousness. The inconsistencies become undeniable, almost unbearable to the awakened soul.
Okay. This brings up the idea of living by grace, which the source mentions. How does that differ from just being passive? Just sitting back and waiting for things to happen?
That's a really important clarification the source makes. It says explicitly, it doesn't make you idle or impractical.
Okay.
You still perform your work and responsibilities, but you do so with the quiet confidence that a higher power is working through you and for you.
Quiet confidence, so the motivation is different.
Completely. Decisions are guided by intuition and love, not by panic or ego ambition.
Guided by intuition and love.
So you're still fully engaged with life, still making choices, taking action. But your underlying driver, your methods, are entirely different. You're not relying solely on frantic personal effort or cunning anymore.
You're relying on that deeper inner guidance working through you.
Precisely.
So, is there a practical way to anchor this, to bring this into daily life?
Yes, the source offers a simple but really powerful suggestion for that.
What is it?
Every morning, before you plunge into activity, take time in meditation to remember and feel this inner presence.
Pause before the day starts.
Yes. Center yourself in the awareness that not by my struggles in the human way, but by the source within me, all things shall be done.
That's a powerful affirmation. Not by my struggles, but by the source within me.
You can even affirm it in your own words.
Yeah.
Consciously choosing to live by the grace of the divine self, rather than just by sheer human will or exhaustive effort.
Okay, so what's the tangible result for you, the listener, if you practice this consistently?
The source holds out a promise. As you follow these inner promptings and maintain your integrity in action, you will notice life unfolding with more ease and support.
Ease and support. Sounds good.
Definitely. Needs are met in ways sometimes unexpected. Doors open that you could not have forced open by your will.
Wow. Synchronicities start happening.
It paints that beautiful picture, doesn't it? A life flowing with divine assistance, where synchronicity replaces constant struggle and opportunities just arise, seemingly out of nowhere, all because of that inner alignment.
So how does this fit into the bigger cosmic puzzle?
Well, living in alignment with what you know to be spiritually true, living with integrity, creates a harmonious inner environment.
Inner harmony.
And as the source asserts with real conviction, in time, this inner harmony manifests as external harmony.
Inner reflects outer.
Exactly. So holding to truth and integrity isn't a limitation on your freedom. It's actually presented as a profound liberation.
How is it liberating?
It frees you from those suffocating burdens of guilt and fear.
And
Interestingly, it signals to the universe that you're ready to receive more grace.
signals you're ready, like opening a channel.
That's the sense of it. Living by grace means life becomes less a struggle and more a flow. You feel guided by that invisible, benevolent hand. Blessings often appear miraculously timed, unfolding with an effortless quality that just defies conventional logic.
It suggests a radical shift, doesn't it? From constantly striving and pushing to a life of ease, synchronicity, effortless manifestation, all stemming from that inner alignment.
A truly radical and appealing shift, I think.
Me too. Okay, part 7. The transformative power of love and forgiveness. This shift in identity must also massively change how we relate to others, right? Especially around love and forgiveness.
Absolutely. It's a huge part of it. The source highlights that in the ego-centered state, our default mode is often being frequently hurt or offended with ease.
Oh yeah, taking things personally, being touchy.
Exactly. It's described as a very reactive, sensitive state. You may hold grudges and find it difficult to let go of past wrongs, just constantly replaying perceived injustices in your mind.
That's such a common and frankly debilitating human experience, isn't it? Carrying that heavy baggage of past hurts, resentment.
Yeah, it really is. But the source makes a powerful declaration here. As you awaken spiritually, this changes drastically. Those old patterns of reaction start to dissolve.
Okay, how? What changes?
Well, one intriguing point the Source makes is the profound shift in perception that comes with awakening. You start to realize that the same divine essence dwells in those who have harmed you, even if they are unaware of it.
See the divine essence even in those who hurt you? Wow, that's challenging.
It is. It means you begin to see others, even those you might think of as adversaries, or those who've caused you pain, with a compassionate understanding that goes beyond their actions.
But does this mean we just become a doormat? Let people walk all over us? That's a common concern, right?
The very common and valid concern. And the Source addresses it very clearly. It clarifies. This does not mean you become a doormat or that you condone harmful behaviors.
Okay, good.
Instead, you choose to respond from a higher vibration.
Respond from a higher vibration. What does that look like?
You are still empowered to set healthy boundaries or seek justice when appropriate.
So boundaries are still important.
Very much so. But without hatred or vengeance in your hearts. That's the critical distinction. The internal state from which you act.
Acting without hatred or vengeance.
Yes. You can genuinely, sincerely wish the well-being and enlightenment of those who may have wished you ill, which is described as a truly transformative and healing act, not just for them, but primarily for yourself.
Right. Releasing that negativity for your own sake.
Exactly.
This ability to truly forgive, to release, it sounds incredibly freeing, doesn't it?
It's described as a hallmark of higher density consciousness. It's what genuinely frees you from the chains of bitterness and vengeance that keep souls bound to lower vibration.
Breaking those chains.
Instead of being trapped in the cycle of hurt and retaliation, constantly caught in that loop of suffering, you effectively transcend it.
Transcend the whole cycle. That's a powerful image, breaking free from something that holds so many people captive.
It is. So what does this mean for you personally, the listener? The Source promises. By extending forgiveness, you yourself are healed.
You are healed by forgiving.
Yes. Your heart remains light, and you carry an aura of peace that silently blesses all around you.
An aura of peace.
Ultimately, the Source concludes, to forgive is to recognize the truth of unity.
Back to unity again.
Always. What you do for another, especially acts of love and mercy, you truly do for yourself. It hammers home that deep realization. Our individual well-being, our liberation, is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. It transforms conflict into connection.
And transform conflict into connection through forgiveness. Powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, part 8. Illuminating darkness with light. This connects directly, doesn't it? This idea of forgiveness leads to another fundamental truth mentioned. You cannot overcome darkness by using more darkness.
Yes, it's a core principle that builds on forgiveness. And it seems to fly directly in the face of, well, how much of human history has unfolded?
Right. For millennia, our default response to aggression, to perceived darkness, has often been more aggression, more darkness, fighting fire with fire.
Exactly. Yet those cycles of war, retaliation, revenge, they rarely, if ever, lead to lasting peace or true resolution, do they?
Not really, just sow seeds for the next conflict.
Precisely. The Source powerfully reinforces this by quoting a wise leader. It feels like a nod to Martin Luther King Jr., who stated, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that."
Only light drives out darkness. Only love drives out hate.
It's presented not just as a nice philosophical idea, but as a profound spiritual strategy. A strategy for elevating not only your own life, but the collective human experience too.
So how does this play out? The Source contrasts the typical 3D reaction with this higher approach, right?
Yes, it's a fascinating contrast. The third density reaction is usually to strike back on the same level of aggression.
The immediate knee-jerk eye for an eye response. Tit for tat.
Yeah, the one we're so familiar with, where the conflict just escalates instead of resolving.
Okay, so what's the alternative? The 4D approach.
The ascending fourth density approach, however, is to introduce a higher frequency into the situation.
Introduce a higher frequency. Okay, what does that actually look like in practice, in everyday life?
Well, it can mean responding with empathy where there is anger, or with understanding where there is ignorance.
Meeting anger with empathy. That takes strength.
It does. It can also mean meeting conflict with a spiritually centered calm through prayer or deep breathing instead of panic or rage.
Choosing calm over reactivity.
Exactly. It's about consciously choosing to use spiritual power, inner wisdom, instead of brute force or emotional reactivity.
And the Source points to larger examples too.
Yes, it reminds us that Nonviolent resistance movements in your world have shown that moral courage can undermine oppression more effectively and lastingly than armies. Think Gandhi, think MLK.
Right. Moral force can be stronger than physical force.
That's the principle. So what does this mean for you personally, day to day? The source makes it clear. Each of you has daily opportunities to practice lighting the light instead of cursing the darkness.
Daily opportunities.
When you encounter negativity in yourself or others, the invitation is to stop and remember the light within you and the light within them.
Stop. Remember the light. It's a conscious, moment-by-moment choice then, responding from a higher place.
That seems to be the core practice.
So in the broader context, what happens when we consistently choose this higher path, this response of light and love?
The source suggests that the more consistently you choose it, the more you will witness true miracles of harmony.
Miracles of harmony. That sounds hopeful.
It does. And it's not just about personal inner peace. The source suggests it has tangible, observable effects in the world around you.
Like what?
It says, physical ailments that seemed intractable can yield to the healing light of true prayer. And relationships long fractured can heal when met with forgiveness and understanding.
Wow. Healing on multiple levels.
Yes. And looking even wider, the source asserts that even entire societies can begin to heal when enough individuals commit to radiating compassion instead of judgment.
The ripple effect again. Enough individuals shifting.
Exactly. Ultimately, it concludes, transforming darkness with light is the master's way and the way of the higher cosmic realms.
The master's way.
It prepares individuals, it suggests, to handle greater powers responsibly because they learn to wield the only force that truly heals and unites the force of divine love.
Divine love is the ultimate power.
That's the powerful vision presented, a vision of both personal and collective transformation, where challenges are met not with escalating conflict, but with an ever-increasing frequency of harmony and healing.
Yeah, that's a profound shift. Okay, part 9. The global awakening and your role. Here's where it gets really interesting, connecting these individual shifts to a bigger planetary picture.
Yes, this is where it scales up.
The source talks about humanity now undergoing a profound awakening. And the signs, it claims, are appearing everywhere, no longer hidden away.
Right. Not just for mystics in caves anymore.
Exactly. It notes that spiritual pursuits like meditation, energy healing, and enlightenment were once relegated to the fringes of society or cloistered in specific traditions, kept separate. But now they're entering popular culture, becoming part of the mainstream conversation, mainstream practice.
You definitely see that, don't you? Mindfulness apps, yoga studios everywhere.
Absolutely. It's a significant and, I think, undeniable shift. A broader acceptance and integration of these practices into everyday life.
And the source gives specific examples, too.
It does. Medical science studies the effects of prayer and mind-body techniques in healing. That's huge.
It is. And large corporations teach mindfulness and compassion in the workplace.
Even organized religions, it says, are rediscovering the importance of spiritual experience and the power of consciousness. Kind of returning to their mystical roots, maybe.
It really does feel like a collective recognition is dawning across the planet, doesn't it? A widespread hunger for something more than just the material.
It does. A search for deeper meaning.
And what's particularly fascinating here is the underlying idea the source puts forward, that the world is recognizing that your next evolutionary step is spiritual.
Our next step as a species is spiritual.
That's the claim. It's as if the collective soul of humanity is saying, we cannot move forward as a species without bringing spirit into our daily lives.
Like we've hit a wall with the old ways.
Perhaps. There's a palpable global search for deeper truth, behind the external differences of creed and culture, a yearning that transcends those superficial divisions we talked about earlier.
Ancient wisdom being revived, combined with modern knowledge.
Exactly, creating new paradigms. And this widespread spiritual awakening, the source asserts, is actually something unprecedented in recorded history.
Unprecedented? How so?
It calls it a global convergence of science and spirituality and an uprising of the heart.
Wow. Science and spirituality converging, an uprising of the heart. That's a powerful image.
It is, which naturally compels us to ask, what is this collective shift ultimately leading to?
Right. Where is it all going?
The source suggests it's laying the essential groundwork, the foundation for humanity's profound transition into fourth density consciousness.
So it's paving the way for that next level.
Marking a pivotal, maybe inevitable moment in our collective evolution, a stepping stone to something far grander.
And this monumental shift, the source gives it a few names, right? Reflecting how widespread the idea is becoming.
Yes, it mentions a few common ones. Some call this the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Heard that one.
Others speak of the new Earth or the Great Shift.
The Great Shift, okay.
But whatever name you use, fundamentally, it marks the birth of a planetary consciousness.
Planetary consciousness.
That will ultimately qualify you for entry into the greater galactic community.
So this awakening is the qualification process for galactic citizenship.
That seems to be the connection. It's not just a hopeful prophecy. It's framed as the inevitable, organic outcome of this collective awakening.
So this brings us right back to you, the listener. What's your role in all this? Is it just happening to us?
No, the source emphasizes it's not a passive process. This promise of a new era does not automatically fulfill itself. We don't just sit back and wait for it.
Okay, so we have to participate.
Exactly. Instead, you, as the ground crew, have a role to play.
The ground crew, I like that. We're the ones here on Earth making it happen.
That's the idea. It's a direct and powerful call to action for each individual. Actively participate in this grand transformation. It highlights personal responsibility in a collective evolution.
Okay. So how do we play that role effectively?
Stepping back to grasp the broader implications, the source emphasizes that the responsibility and privilege fall to you, the awakening individuals, to embody the change you wish to see.
Be the change. Another classic piece of wisdom.
Indeed. By consistently living your truth, by demonstrating peace, wisdom, and compassion in your daily life, your interactions, you become living examples that light the way for others.
The ripple effect again, leading by example.
Exactly. Just as one lit candle can light thousands, an enlightened soul can inspire an entire community, creating that chain reaction of awakening.
So our inner work isn't just for us.
Not at all. The source even suggests that the efforts of small groups of light-filled people around the world have already begun to influence wider society, often subtly, maybe invisibly at first, but surely. Through their quiet integrity, their radiant presence.
The power of presence.
There's a profound multiplier effect described. When many individuals hold the same light, it builds a critical mass of awakened souls that can actually elevate the entire world's consciousness.
Critical mass.
Tipping point.
That's the feeling. The source powerfully encourages you, the listener, to understand that your individual spiritual growth is so important. It's not selfish.
Right. It's not navel-gazing.
No, it is not merely a personal quest. It is an act of service to all life, a vital contribution to the collective ascent of the planet.
Wow. That really puts our personal journey into a much larger context. Our growth serves the whole.
Precisely.
Okay, finally, part 10. Embracing your galactic citizenship. So after all this exploration, it all culminates in this profound idea, becoming a galactic citizen.
The destination, in a sense.
Yes. And the source makes it explicitly clear right off the bat. This doesn't mean that you cease to be human. You don't shed your earthly identity.
Right, you don't become some disembodied alien. No, on the contrary. The source says it means that humanity is maturing to its fullest potential as a species of divine origin.
Maturing to our fullest potential. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Isn't it? It's about elevating beyond the old third density paradigm of fear and separativeness and entering a fourth density vibration of love, understanding, and unity.
Elevating into love, understanding, unity.
It's a beautiful image, not abandoning our humanity, but perfecting it. Evolving into a higher, more complete version of ourselves, fully embodying our divine heritage.
And what's truly compelling here is the deeply personal connection it describes to the larger cosmic family.
How so?
The source explains that with each inner victory, every time you overcome an ego pattern, in each act of kindness, you attune more with the frequencies of your great cosmic family.
Attuning your frequency, like tuning a radio.
Kind of, yeah. Raising your vibration to match theirs. It paints a picture of benevolent beings from higher realms observing your progress with loving interest, perhaps guiding and cheering you on silently.
Cheering us on. I like that.
Yeah. And the Pleiadians specifically state, according to this source, we are doing so now more than ever.
So they're implying an active, supportive presence right now in this human evolution.
That's the strong implication. That this awakening journey isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a much larger, universe-wide process with cosmic support and guidance available.
And what's incredibly exciting and maybe a bit mind-bending is that the source even hints at future open contact, doesn't it? Suggesting a tangible future for this galactic citizenship.
It does hint at that, yes.
Yeah.
It states that One day, in the not-too-distant future, open contact and communion with us and other enlightened civilizations will become a reality.
Open contact, wow. But it says even before that happens.
Yes, even before any physical manifestation, you are beginning to connect on the inner planes through the universal language of consciousness and spirit.
Connecting on the inner planes. So this raises a really important, maybe deeply personal question for you to consider. What does that inner connection actually feel like? How do you know it's happening?
Good question. The Source explains that as you release the inner light, as you do that inner work we've been discussing, you naturally begin to resonate with the wider network of light that spans the universe.
Resonating with the network of light.
And as this connection deepens, you will come to the profound conclusion that you are never alone.
Never alone.
You've always been part of a vast and interdependent community of souls.
That's a powerful realization, isn't it? To completely dissolve that feeling of isolation, that third density limitation, and replace it with a sense of belonging to something immeasurably grand.
Truly profound. So in the grand scheme, embracing this truth, living from this awareness, means you effectively shed the old identity of the isolated Earthman.
Letting go of that limited identity.
And don the mantle of the galactic citizen.
Donning the mantle. It's not just a title, is it? It's a whole shift in being.
A profound shift in identity, yes. And this galactic citizen, the Source says beautifully, carries the Earth in his heart, but also carries the stars in his eyes.
Earth in the heart, stars in the eyes. I love that. Honoring both our roots and our destiny.
Exactly. It's a beautiful duality. And the Source offers a truly powerful, empowering, concluding thought for you, the listener.
What is it?
It says, you are the bridge between earth and heaven, the link between the human and the divine, the local and the cosmic.
Wow. We are the bridge.
Yes. And by your simple daily acts of love, integrity, and insight, you are actively, consciously fulfilling the ancient promise within you.
Fulfilling the promise.
You are becoming the very change that generations of seekers and prophets have longed to see.
We are becoming the change. That's an incredibly empowering message, isn't it? It places the transformative power squarely in our hands. Our everyday choices become part of a universal awakening.
Absolutely. It makes the grand cosmic scale incredibly personal and immediate.
Okay. Love wrap up. What an incredible journey we've taken today, really diving deep into this fascinating source material.
She covered a lot of ground.
It really did. From understanding the limitations of our current third density existence, all the way to envisioning this future where humanity truly takes its place among the stars.
And importantly, not by physically leaving Earth behind necessarily.
Oh, exactly. But by profoundly transforming our consciousness from within.
That's the key.
We've explored these monumental shifts from fear to, well, unwavering faith. From self-preservation to universal service, and from that deep-seated separation to an all-encompassing unity.
It's a powerful and, I think, deeply inspiring vision of what it means to live with true integrity, with that unwavering grace, and with an expansive, open heart.
It really is, and this deep dive truly highlights how much of this grand transformation is fundamentally an inner process, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It comes down to a deeply personal choice for you, the listener, to make, moment by moment.
And the Source offers that reassurance too, those powerful words that the same divine presence that has guided you this far will never leave or forsake you.
Yes, that constant wellspring of support and wisdom is always there within.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to carry forward into your week, a kind of call to action perhaps.
Okay.
If becoming a galactic citizen truly means embodying unconditional love and universal unity, what's one small intentional act? Maybe an act of forgiveness you've been putting off, or perhaps reaching out with an open-hearted connection that you can bring into your life this week. Something to contribute in your own way to that greater shift right here on Earth.
That's a great takeaway. And indeed, let's remember the Source's powerful concluding words, that hopeful prophecy for all of us. A new dawn is rising for you and for this world.
A new dawn is rising. Thank you for joining us on this illuminating deep dive.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep shining your light for all to see.